Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to today's America, Millennium News 24/7. This is Tofader, our United States studio. Viewers, worldwide, so many disasters happening. Western Ukraine, few hours back, in Lubin, 35% killed, hundreds of wounded by missile attack. So we're going to talk about these things, and we have a today guest from Hanoi, Vietnam, Mr. Shahar, and our co-host Todd Goldfinger. Welcome both of you, our Today's America and Millennium News 24. And Mr. Shah, please introduce yourself, our viewers.
Well, first thing, you can call me Shay.
Shay.
Easier.
I'm sorry, Shay. Okay, go ahead, please introduce.
It's a Jewish name, hard to pronounce sometimes. I'm a chef, Israeli American. I've been living in Vietnam for 13 years, running several businesses here, consulting, with some side work in poetry and translation. Born in Jerusalem, grew up in the Galilee, lived in Philadelphia, USA for many years.
Very good, very good. Todd, brother, introduce yourself.
Wonderful to be here, and thank you, Shay, for being on the show today. I guess I would let everybody know that if they want me to, I could put my name in for 2024. It's great to be here. Mental health is something that affects everybody, and especially now with the horrors going on in our world today, we need to breathe and look in if we have the privilege to do so. And with privilege comes great responsibility. With great privilege comes great responsibility. And the awakening of that is what we all need to do and look at for ourselves as individuals in the life paths that we choose and that are chosen for us. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Todd, floor is yours. You can ask question.
Okay, Shay, I want to ask you, what's it like living in Hanoi, Vietnam? Is it great? Because I thought it was great when I was there for 3 months. And what's that?
We miss you.
I love Hanoi, Vietnam. I miss Hanoi, Vietnam. I miss you. I miss everybody in Hanoi, Vietnam, because to me it was a paradise.
I love Hanoi, and I think the way I can explain where I moved here, why it was meaningful, is my father's a traveler. My father's a former teacher. He was teaching a year. Summertime, he will go on vacation, plan it all year, like bit by bit, know everything about the country, learn their language, learn their culture. And when I decided that I want to move to Hanoi, after I came here as a tourist 13 years ago, I called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm moving to Hanoi. And it was about 3-4 seconds on the line, and he said, I get it. And that's the point. It's a great city, and it's my kind of city. I'm a second city guy. I like cities that have a lot to give, but are also walkable, communicable. No offense, like I'm more Philadelphia, less New York. I'm more Jerusalem, less Tel Aviv. I'm more Chiang Mai, less Bangkok.
Shay, if you don't mind me asking, what are the differences? Because just for the viewer, because for people who haven't been to Shanghai or Hanoi or to even Moscow, how would they know what it was like? So you got to explain to them what the city is like a little bit, so they get a picture of it.
Of course, it's an old city, for one thing, and you have the strata of history, where you can feel this is 200 years old. This is 500 years old. You have variety of strata of history in it. You have culture, but you also have modernity. Now, I look at the many things from the point of view of a chef. So, of course, that's the prism by which it's easiest for me to understand things. So food-wise, one of the things I love most about Hanoi and Vietnam in general is that it's a culture that, in my experience, is very proud, but is never chauvinistic. There's never a feeling of we are better than anybody else, but it doesn't mean you're not proud of it, which sometimes can look the same, but are not the same. I've never met a Vietnamese who is proud of not liking food from other countries. I've met Vietnamese who apologize. This is not what I grew up on. But I've never met somebody who's like, I'm only a meat and potato kind of guy. I don't like any of that food stuff. It doesn't mean that everybody is open-minded. It doesn't mean that everybody is open to try everything. But there's no pride in closed-mindedness. I always say, like, I'm okay with people being closed-minded. You know what you like, that's fine. You don't have to like things you don't like. You don't have to watch any kind of movie. You don't have to listen to all the music.
And it's good to know what you like.
But looking at stuff you don't like in a negative way, that's one thing that gets weird to me. Like, I don't like something. Thereby what I find chauvinistic cultures are more like, where they feel like their culture is constant under threat, and they have to protect it from outside influences, outside sources. And I really like that about Vietnam. I also like the chaos. Hanoi is a chaotic city, which I like. I used to joke that the traffic rules in Vietnam are basically a market-based approach to traffic rules. We have rules, but it matters what the people themselves think the rules that make sense are the rules.
Yes.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, for me, I like cities that are like Krakow, for example, is one of my favorite cities, you know. And right now, Krakow is a humanitarian epicenter where there are, you know, I guess hundreds of thousands of refugees and things like. It's a humanitarian crisis now. So one of my favorite cities, you know, also Warsaw. This is kind of like otherwise known as the front line, you know. So this is, you know, the humanitarian corridor, as they would call it, as we would call it.
I don't know if it's a corridor as much as it's a disgrace for humanity right now, but yeah.
Share.
It's hard to say, but what about globalism? Globalism.
What about it?
What is it good? Is it what should people know about globalism?
Well, I'm a globalist. I'm for open borders. I think that Beyond, okay, let's try to remove the moral elements out of it. Let's talk about it as Americans. Let's assume that all three of us are Americans who just care for America's well-being. Not saying that that's the right approach, but let's assume that that's where we stand. Open borders is the best thing America can have. Let's take all the talent from the world. America is a place where, not the only place, but it is a place where generally people of all genders, people of all races and all religions can really reach their potential. And then imagine how much potential there is in the world in places where they can't express that potential. Just from point of view of capitalism and interest, opening our borders is a great thing. Steve Jobs came from a Syrian refugee family. Now, doesn't mean that you have to like Steve Jobs or whatever, but he brought a lot to America, and so has many others. It's not a closed pie where more people come in, the smaller the slices. The more people come in, the bigger the pie is, and the more there is to share. I'm a big fan of open borders, especially as an American. I want us to have free borders, but I'm for it for the rest of the world. But even if the rest of the world doesn't follow, I wish we had it in the US, because
we can't have it in the U.S. We have to really be very choosy about who we select and bring into our country. We can't be like what Germany did. Germany let in, I think, everybody and didn't check everybody, you know? Anyway, people have to be checked when they're coming in.
Where did your family come from, Todd?
Where did my family come from?
Ellis Island?
This is a great point. Where did my family... So, I'm going to tell you, my family...
Ellis Island?
I believe... half first generation.
Yeah. Were they chosen for?
My mom came from Trinidad. You know, yeah. Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. It's lovely. I mean, we're not going to get into politics about Venezuela and all that stuff. But,
nice.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, it's a nice place. It was a nice place once, and it's great.
Yeah. All the people that came to Ellis Islands.
Yes, sir.
Todd and Shay, please, we are going to break, and stay with us. Viewers, we are going to break. We're going to come back soon. Thank you. আমরা তো ব্রেকে আপনি কি শুনেন?
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Viewers, we are come back again. Today's America and Millennium News 24/7. Shay, you remember what's happened 1968, America and Vietnamese. But Vietnamese people hate America, or they just forget everything?
Let me just put it like this. I feel uncomfortable talking for people that aren't my people.
Okay, no problem.
I'm an expert here. I can tell you my experience, I can tell you my views, I can tell you the Vietnamese I've met. That doesn't mean in any way that I can represent a country of 98 million people and their views on a subject as complicated as that. For one thing, I've never met a Vietnamese who hate America. But I also speak English, they speak English. I will never meet somebody who probably hates America because they're probably not going to hang out with foreigners, with expats like me, with English speakers. Maybe there's a lot of them, maybe there aren't. I don't know. I can give you my views of the Vietnam War, which could be controversial, could be acceptable or not, but I cannot really speak for the Vietnamese people.
I understood. It's no problem. You know, we are as an American, we respect and love all humanity and everyone. We do not care whatever color, whatever race, religious, anything. We respect and love. You know, world. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Currently, Vietnam and America are pretty good friends. American culture is quite loved in Vietnam. All the big American movies are showing here. American music is popular here. We are slightly less popular culturally than Korea, but probably we are almost second place. The big enemy to Vietnamese is China. And I don't think many modern Vietnamese look at America as a threat. They probably the other way around, they hope America will help defend them and protect them from the Chinese imperialism, the Chinese expansionism. Again, everything I say is from my own personal experience, which might or might not represent the general Vietnamese population.
I understood. Very good. You know, Sheh, world is totally disaster right now. You know what's happened Israel and Palestine last 50 years, over 50 years, and Yemen, Syria, Libya. I'm not talking about Turkey and Afghanistan. Those countries is destroyed. Right now, Russian corner, Ukraine, one of the lovely country. People is love, fish, and they doing their business. They do not hate Russian. They do not hate anybody. What reason Russian government, if they try to take over the country, take over the country. Why you guys killing the innocent public, innocent people? What do you think, brother?
I think we have to realize, and I'm not defending in any way, is that we are advanced humans in our point of view on history. We forget that these methods, these ways of dealing with things, have been part of humanity for 99% of our time on Earth. If you fight a war, you try to conquer. That was the reason for wars in the past, until quite recently. When you try to conquer, causing as much damage and killing as much of the males in that community was the way you fought war. I actually think we are living in a generally good time. Doesn't mean things are perfect, and doesn't mean there's not a long way to go before things are great. But the fact that we look at these war techniques that Russia is doing right now in Ukraine as negative, as an anathema to our humanity, is a good point about how far we've gone. This was the way the world was 200 years ago, 150 years ago. That was just how all wars were fought. We now look at wars in a very different point of view. So I'm actually sort of happy that this is our reaction to a war like this. That gives me hope to humanity, if that gives any hope, because things are actually quite sad and not very positive. There's a positivity to it nonetheless.
You know, your life, my life, Todd life, we never see ourselves the what is called Second World War. Second World War, Hitler, killed so many people, but he did not destroy the structure. He do not bombing like that. You know, he did, but he did it not like a community.
Okay, let's stop for a second. Everything you know about Jewish people comes from the people who survived. What you think you know, what are Jewish names, what are Jewish songs, what are Jewish looks, face features, everything you know about Jews comes from the people who survived, which makes us forget that the Nazis and Hitler and the Germans and many of the Europeans, it wasn't just one person, it wasn't one just country, killed and destroyed whole communities, some of them to 100%, to the point where we only know the people who survived. If it wasn't for the World War II, what it would have mean to be Jewish right now would have been a much more varied thing. More languages, more facial, more skin colors, more everything. They killed so many that we almost forget that they were killed because there's none of them left. Now, I'm not one to say that what Hitler, the Germans, the Europeans did in World War II is the worst thing to ever happen in the world or the only bad thing to happen in the world. I don't like to compare things to it because, you know, it makes everything else look almost like not important, but that's not true either. What Putin is doing right now in Ukraine is horrendous. It's horrible. It's also good that we see that it's horrible and horrendous. Now, you will hear a lot of people throwing whataboutism. What about what America did in Afghanistan? What about is all those things can be true. But are people bringing it up in order to bring attention to those other things, or to bring it in order for us to get into some kind of mental fatigue and let's say ethical paralysis, where so many bad things have been done by so many bad people, then I don't care about this one. And what Putin is doing right now is horrible. He's wrong. He's also failing. Russia is not going to get the good part out of it. Putin has destroyed Russia. Putin has, but also is destroying Ukraine. And I don't know where we're going to come out of this. But I will not agree with you that what he's doing is worse than what Hitler did. I don't find it relevant to compare it.
It's on par. It's on par with.
You know, disregard this.
I don't know if it's par with.
It's on par with.
I don't think it matters whether.
May I say something? I have something to say. It's not.
Go ahead.
It's not per se about this, but about everything in general, if I could. Okay, for the survival of the human race. Now, please listen to me, if you could. For the survival of the human race, this is important. You have to be open-minded, you have to breathe, you have to have clean drinking water, and you have to be advanced in your thinking. You have to be critical in your thinking also. We need to teach critical thinking. People aren't taught how to think, they're taught what to think, and that's oppression. That's oppression in its very basic form. It's, anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And all of this, Russia's misinformation, and all sorts of stuff like this. It's a way of making people want to give up. It's a big source of depression and post-traumatic syndrome for a lot of people, including the people who are watching it on TV. Just like when we had 9/11 and they kept repeating this horror over and over again, re-traumatizing the people and then making us not trust each other, and that's where we are today. Thanks, W. Not really. No thanks, W. Sorry.
You know, you bring 9/11. This is one of the worst things happen in our American soil. But one thing we are talking about Russia and Ukraine. Russian foreign minister this morning, their time, morning time, 9:30, give the press conference. AP, Reuters, and also CGTV, RT, they broadcast worldwide. They are not killing anybody in Ukraine. They're killing Nancy. They are not human being. Mr. Shea, what is this guy talking about?
Okay, let me throw something in there that might not be popular, and I'm not defending Putin on the Russians. But it's one of those things as a lover of history and trying to understand the world. When the Russians say Nazis, we have to remember that the Russian experience with Nazis is people who try to conquer Russia. Now, what he's saying is completely wrong and is propaganda. But he's not saying, he's talking to Russian ears. And Putin is not saying Ukraine hate Jews and want to murder minorities. What they're saying is Ukraine wants to destroy Russia, which is what they think of when they hear Nazis. Same thing as in the West, when we hear Nazis, all we hear is Jew hating.
Right, but it's also not true. I have to say, it's also
no, it's not true.
It's also, we have to say that it's not true. We have to preface it with that because
no, but we have to understand
when the Russian Federation is saying these lies, it's not the Russian people. We have to also distinguish that.
What the lie is, and I'm not saying that it's still a lie.
It's the Federation.
But we seem to misunderstand it often on the West, what the lie is denoting. And we defend it by saying, oh, how can the lie be true if Ukraine has a Jewish president? And that's not what the Russians think of when they hear the word, the Ukrainian are Nazis, in their propaganda. What they're hearing is not, oh, the Ukrainians have been taken over by anti-Jewish haters. What they hear is the Ukrainians have been taken over by anti-Russians. They remember World War II, where they fought against the Nazis, and the Nazis killed 16 million something Russians.
Right.
That's what they remember. So that in their propaganda, it's not directed to us, it's directed to them. It's still a lie.
It is. It's, you know what? It feels a lot like Mar-a-Lago. It feels like a Trumpism. I just want to say that because it feels like somebody's feeding Moscow from Mar-a-Lago. I'm not saying who in Mar-a-Lago. You know what I'm saying? But there's a golf course. I think you give
Mar-a-Lago way too much
credit.
There's
a golf course. I think we have to. I think we have to give them the credit that they deserve as being traitors. As being traitors in this whole thing. They're going to go down as people who aided and abetted a dictatorship and a federation who is killing innocent people.
I agree. Just don't let
and turning the country into what looks like North Korea. Thank you.
Just Mar-a-Lago, if anything, is an agent in this. It's definitely not the leader in any of this.
It's trying to be a leader, and it wants to be a leader again in 2024, and that's why I'm going to have to go in for that. You know,
no,
that's why I'll have to fight him. You know, and I will. Thank you.
And we should.
Of course, our support always with you. You know, if you're going to do good things, of course, people are going to support you. People are going to love you. Brother, please stay with us. We are going to break. Viewers, we are going to break. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Okay. Viewers, we are back again. Today's America, Millennium News 24/7. Todd, you gonna run for as an independent or any party line 2024?
I think what's going to have to be, as it turns out, like I have a choice in the matter. That's the absurd funny part, is that independence, the Independence Party, or the Light Party, if you will, because we're all light beings once we realize it. Thanks.
Very good, very good. Our American viewers and voters have to be supportive if you are doing good job. Mr. Shea, you are traveling globally. What do you think Russia attacked by helping Syria, Libya, and they destroy Syria and Libya, and they blaming America? Do you have any idea, bro?
Yeah. Russia's, in my opinion, they are nihilistic, which is very depressing. Russia doesn't try to make Russia better. In order for them to do well, they have to make everybody else do worse. I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of Russian culture, mostly from 100 years ago. Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Prokofiev. But currently, so much of Russian culture is about making everybody else worse, not by making themselves better. They get it now. I think I might be a neoliberal, I might be overly promotive of American interest, but I think generally, at least in the last 30, 40 years, United States motives have been good. I think often Americans were idiots about how they dealt with it. They got involved in things they shouldn't have, caused more damage than they should have, and maybe we shouldn't have involved themselves in so many of them. I don't think the interest was definitely negative. I truly think that the Russian current approach to the world is, if we make the world worse, we look better in comparison. And it's easier than making our own country better. And that is a nihilistic approach. I hope that I'm wrong, because it's very depressing for the world and for Russia, which I wish nothing wrong to. But from traveling the world, that's how I feel about Russia right now. Again, I think America has involved themselves in things they shouldn't have, and I think America were idiots in the way they involve themselves, and sometimes cause worse situation And is that better than what Russia is doing? I don't know. That is a debate. But I don't think America's interest was negative.
You know, other things I'm going to bring. American mainstream media, they never showing what is America doing in Middle East, Yemen, also somewhere in Iraq and border of Syria. And you know, our media just showing good things, but they never showing we are destroying the country. We are destroying the humanity.
I strongly disagree with you. I've watched a lot of very negative reports regularly on MSM, American MSM, about what's happening in Iraq, what's happening in Yemen. Whether it's, I don't know if you consider Last Week Tonight to be MSM, they are constantly critical of it. Even on MSN, they are. On CNN, they are. Are they as much as they should be? Probably not. Are they easy to pick up information given to them by the CIA or American government institutions? Definitely. But are they just towing the line? I don't agree with you on that. Now, I think Americans lazy and not interested, which is a problem. And I think mainstream media give people what they want to hear. And most Americans, like most people in the world, are not interested in what's happening far away from them. Vietnamese are not interested in what's happening in Venezuela. Americans are not interested in what's happening in Pakistan. It's far away, it's people they never heard of, they can't put it on a map. And that's, I think, true on everybody. I don't think that's
true. It's not true for everybody, because if you're a feeling person, it's
No, I
going to
mean,
affect you.
everybody in the
Weltschmerz. The Weltschmerz.
I'm sorry if I misstated. I mean that everybody in the world, on average, has low interest about things.
This is your views.
Sleep,
Okay.
differences everywhere.
This
What are you
is
saying, no?
now I'm saying this is your views. You know, American media, whatever they show right now, Ukraine, they do not show anything. 0.00001%. Okay, nothing. In CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, this major media, they never showing anything. They showing their own interest. Where is they get benefit? How the advertisement coming?
What do you mean by not showing anything? What are they hiding? What information is out there that you are claiming that are not representing? You said 99% not showing. What is the 0.1%
Like,
information?
listen, just now, a few minutes ago, in Lviv, the Russian missile killed 35 people, 77 people wounded. They're showing whole of the world. But last night, they bombing Yemen. They destroy mosque, madrasa, institute. They never showing.
They destroyed a mosque in Ukraine as well.
True, but who
I
did
almost
it?
said Hitler, but it was
Look.
Putin.
I wish we had more information about what's going on in Syria. I wish Europe and America opened the borders to Syrian refugees as much as they did to America, to Ukrainian. I think that Israel should have opened the borders to Syrian refugees, at least openly. They did it secretly because Syrian refugees will get murdered when they get back to Syria if they'd known that they were in Israel. But what does it serve a purpose by bringing it up?
It serves the purpose that people need to hear this.
I agree, but most of the time it just, in my opinion, leads to, as I said before, ethical paralysis, where There's so many bad things happening by everybody, and everybody's wrong, and everybody's bad. So why should I care? And
People
why should
give
I
up. That's when people give up. That's rope-a-dope. In Muhammad Ali, the boxer, Cassius Clay, if you remember it correctly, you know, he used to do something called rope-a-dope.
Muhammad Ali, I take him by his chosen name.
Okay, however, spiritual being, so who's a boxer as well, or was, and you know, anyway,
Poet.
he said he was the greatest, right? So, if you say you're the greatest, you must be, right?
Well, unless you're orange, but
right. Then you're not.
No, but yes.
You tell me the FRUB. FRUB is, if you're gonna go CGTV, Chinese government television, Chinese global television, also NDTV, Indian government television. Okay. Also, if you go Fish TV from Iran, you're gonna see it. Also, Arabia, not Al Jazeera, Arabia TV, you're going to see it. This is a lot of fruit, but we are doing embargo Russia. They are talking about we are doing America, doing embargo Russia. Who going to do embargo against America?
What's an embargo?
Embargo means like we cannot do any business with the country.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Economic relations is not a right for countries.
Okay.
It's a reward you get for playing by the rules. Now, Russia can embargo us, but you know what? We are stronger. We have a bigger economy. And we don't have to play in their sandbox if we don't like the way that they play. That is the rules of the world. China can do the same thing to America. If they decide America is too negative on China, they can cut us off from anything. And you know what? They get things that way. They get movies to show maps, like the latest Uncharted movie has a map that shows the 5 dash lines, the Chinese approach to how the China Sea looks like. That's what they get for that. And Hollywood wants to get the movies there for the financial benefit. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. You have power, you use it. Now, I prefer when we use it because I think that we are more correct, but that's not a wrong thing. We don't have to buy stuff.
It might be a wrong thing to yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You were saying, Todd?
I just want to say is that there are too many strange bedfellows. Now, strange bedfellows, what does that mean? Now, it's a metaphorical term. It means getting in bed with people that aren't good for you or your interests. So let them stay over there. And as we say
I know.
Huh?
I've been to orgies, I know.
Exactly. We're not going into orgies right now. So the point of the story is this. There are too many strange bedfellows. Now, when you're in bed with somebody and they're doing something you don't like, you have to get out of the bed or have your own bed and let them sleep in their bed and you have your bed. Everybody has their own bed. And I think that's a good way to go about it. Why not?
I think you just wrote a really good child book, but the bed that you have.
Yeah, right. There's a time that it's time to stop sleeping with not the enemy, but people that act in a not nice way, that are a little bit nihilistic, too narcissistic for anybody's good. You know, that's Mar-a-Lago, but we're not going there. We're definitely not going there.
It comes from real politics, and there's truth to that. The world is complex. Not everybody is like us. We can't.
Well, the world is complex, and there are different elevations. Now, in Florida, it's a very low elevation. So with the low elevation, you're going to get what's called a low frequency.
So you want somebody from the Rockies to run for president? Is that what you're saying?
Somebody who lives in the Rockies, figuratively speaking.
Okay. But we need a Sherpa for president.
Sheriff?
Sherpa.
Can we talk after the break? Viewers,
Of course.
Viewers, we are going to short break. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
We are back again. Today's America, Millennium News 24/7. Right now, we're going to talk about politics, our nation, United States of America. Everyone knows how our ex-president be a president, how he did it. One of the network called Fox News. Every week they bring him to talking point and they pushing him to run the presidency. Step by step, since 2009 to 2015, he ran for president. He became a president. So, he is the business person. We have our young generation and our brother Todd Goldfinger. We are pushing him and we are talking with him to run for US presidency from independence, not any party line. So, Shay, help us how he make a platform. Just independence platform. Do you have any idea?
How did I become president, if you will? How did I, if we're thinking in the past now, how did I become president? Ready? Go.
We are now in 2026 and we're doing a documentary about the past. How did that happen? Who will believe a schmuck like that? A schlumel. I don't know anymore. The problem is we have to really remember that we are 50 countries in America. We often forget that we are 50 countries. That's where the Greens keep forgetting. They run every 4 years. Forget that if they want to become relevant, they need to run for mayors, they need to run for CDDAs, they need to run for school boards. You can't just run every 4 years for president. We are 50 countries. Our federal system is definitely stronger than the one in the European Union, which is a union of 30 countries. But that's just because we maybe had another 200 years on that. But you cannot just jump to the top. Anybody that wants to get in there, if we want to have a third party in America, we need them to start at the bottom and not just make a showing every 4 years. They need to make the work. They need to run in tiny towns, get small mayors, that's the real politics. I always tell people that aren't from America who forget about that, who don't understand American politics, and they always surprised when I explain it to them. We vote in America every year, and we vote for everything. It's not just president. We vote for every single office. And many of those offices are won by 2,200 and 800 votes. You make a difference in those votes much more than we often make in the presidential election, which you should still vote for every 4 years, but there's so much more. And if you only treat elections as a 4-year cycle, then you're never gonna win at anything. Now, Todd won because we realized that. And he built a structure of elections all across 50 states and the District of Columbia.
Okay.
Plus, there was that TikTok video that really pushed him over the edge. You know the one. There was a turtle involved, but I'm not.
It was a song. It was a song. It was
There was
a
a
song.
turtle, there was a song.
It was a song. There was a song. There was also maybe the halftime show at the NFL where I just completely they make it like this rainbow baby being born. The rainbow baby of the rainbow baby being born, and then a new tomorrow.
I don't know how you afforded it, 25 million for that ad in the Super Bowl, but
I didn't pay for it. It was paid for by Trump felt sorry for me. Trump felt very sorry for me. He thought I had mental illness, so he started to be altruistic all of a sudden. He had a change of heart. So he stopped advising Putin and started to put money into my things.
That was a good evidence at the time that he had Alzheimer's. We were surprised a year later, but that was a good evidence at the time that he was getting Alzheimer's. Like suddenly showing care for other people, we should have constantly figured out that he has a year to go before he dies.
Exactly. Because somebody had, possibly we're not advocating this. We're not advocating this in any way. But maybe a psychedelic substance or compound in an ayahuasca ceremony, and then he was much better. He was a much different person. He was a new person. It was like a reset.
I agree. I'm not saying that we should or somebody has, but it's quite easy to put LSD in a KFC.
I would advise against it. I think in a clinical setting, and the LSD experience can be greatly beneficial to all of humanity. Thank you. You're totally right about LSD being greatly beneficial to humanity and needs to be tested, studied, and
proved by LSD.
Administered in a safe lab setting with the federal government changing things to make sure that the human race can survive now, because this is our last hour, and the last chance we have is through psychedelics. Thank you, and peace.
We hear the history, 1918, few years, World War I, 1939, World War II, now is 2022. We don't like to see any human being death, wounded, destroy. We like to see in the world peace, love, that's all. And people lives, planet, and education, health, and finance.
MCU movies.
What was that?
In MCU movies.
What are MCU movies?
Marvel.
Oh, Marvel? We had enough of Marvel. We need to go into retro gaming. Look at Sega Genesis and Nintendo Entertainment System. 8-bit. Let's start to tap into this market, shall we? Yoshi! Yoshi!
So, you're saying no?
No, exactly, we are almost done for the show today. Mr. Shai, please, you last word for our viewers for today.
I think we are not doing as bad as we think we do. I tend to say that I'm a radical optimist. If you look at the 20th century, less people died per capita than any other time in history. Now that more says about how things used to be worse. Always. We are doing better, and I hope that we're gonna keep doing better. I don't have any proof of that, but I'm being hopeful.
Very good.
Sounds great, sir. I love the chicken behind you.
Todd, your last word.
It's my non-gender conforming chicken.
Non-gender conforming chicken. Did you get that, folks? That is a non-gender conforming
Your
chicken.
last word.
My last words are, it takes a village. It takes a village to create the artist, but then it also takes an artist to not just save the world, but to run a network and to allow people to speak so that we can make a better tomorrow, a better world. We want a better world. We want the world to be a better place. We're not happy with the suffering and the killing and the murder. I'm sorry, we're not going to turn a blind eye, okay? Because we have a third eye, and we're going to use it. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Viewers, I just bring First World War, Second World War, and since 2001 to as of today. Since 2001 to as of today, millions of people died by fighting each other. Also, over 6 million people die pandemic. But still our people, our leaders, they do not learn. Still they try to kill each other, fight each other, show their power, show their earth. Viewers, we don't want to see these things 21st century. Is enough, is enough. We like to see our world, this planet, peace, peace, peace. Viewers, today our time is end over here today. Please watch Millennium News 24/7 and today's America. All iOS and Android device, also all smart TVs, Sony, LG, Samsung, Roku, Amazon. Also Amazon Stick, Roku Stick, Apple TV, Radiant IPTV, Jadu TV, also jagobd.com. Viewers, we are on all social network, Millennium News 24/7 and YouTube channel, News Channel M24. Our website, millenniumnews24.com, also millenniumtv24.com. Viewers, our colleague, friend, reporters, editors, and IT camera person, everyone working round the clock, news, views, talk show, editorial, and so many things only for you. Please watch Millennium News 24/7. Viewers, whatever you are, stay, peace, love, and happiness. Goodbye and take care for today.